the first casualty of the Ignis War. Hey everyone, Templar74 here with another Yu-Gi-Oh video. In today's Yu-Gi-Oh video, I will be discussing the latest episode of Yu-Gi-Oh VRAINS, episode 75. And I gotta be honest with you guys, this episode is really difficult for me to talk about because this episode was really intense and it was probably the most emotional VRAINS episode we've had up to this point in the entire series. And yeah, it's a shame what happened to Earth, and I mean everybody felt it, but we'll talk about all that in just a couple minutes. So without risk of further rambling, let's get on to the actual episode. So the episode begins with the continuation of Go versus Earth, and Go reveals something startling during this. He reveals that he has become a human AI hybrid thanks to this AI chip that Solid Technology developed. And we actually get a flashback to when Go was introduced to this, and it was actually Zyzen who showed this to him and said, "This is the AI chip, and it's implanted into your brain and it can enhance your dueling capabilities." Zyzen then says, "I've showed it to you. I've done all I can do. I'm just an employee. The choice is yours on to whether you want to use it or not." And Zyzen is just kind of like, well, Zyzen actually is astonished when Go says, "I'm going to do it. I'm going to have the chip implanted into his brain." And we learn that this chip being implanted into his brain has allowed Go to fuse with an AI and become one. So Go is now the first human AI hybrid ever in the Yu-Gi-Oh world. And we learn during the course of these flashbacks back through the testing of this, that this puts unspeakable strain, unspeakable amounts of stress on Go's body, and that's why he looks the way he does now. And even Zyzen himself is kind of horrified at this. He's like, no, stop. Get a doctor, don't do this. Zyzen is just horrified to the extent that Go is going to. But Go's determination and stubbornness to defeat Playmaker, of course, is driving him and this AI to points where it should not have been pushed. And yeah, so we get all of this go on, and Zyzen is actually sitting back watching this in horror. He's like, what have we done? And then the duel continues on. We finally get that flashback over. Duel goes on, and Earth has the advantage here. He actually knocks Go down to 100 life points by bringing out Link 4 Digifield Trilithon. And I doubt I'm pronouncing that right. But anyway, Earth's new Link 4 monster, and it knocks Go's life points down to 100. And it's about this time when Earth makes this turnaround, vowing to protect Crystal Heart. He brings out this Link 4 monster that Blue Girl arrives. And when Blue Girl arrives, she basically says, "I'm not here as an enemy Playmaker. My priority is to protect the Ignis." And so Playmaker's an understanding of this, and Blue Girl asks what the status of the duel is. And Playmaker basically tells her, okay, the status of the duel is still unknown, but Earth has the advantage against Go, and of course the Aqua, the Water Ignis, is still outstanding. So we watch on to this, and Earth decides that he's going to use his skill, and it's actually called Earth Go. And what it is it allows him to deal 100 points of damage for every level of the monster that was destroyed by his monster's attack. So the level 8 monster that he just destroyed of Go's would allow him to inflict 800 points of damage, thus winning the duel. But Go pulls out arguably the greatest screw the rules moment since Kaiba, and brings out his newest skill, which actually negates an opponent's skill. So this is a new skill that Go and this AI chip hybrid thing, whatever he's calling himself now, human AI hybrid, created on their own, and negates Earth's skill, much to his frustration and much to the shock and awe and horror of the likes of Zyzen and Blue Girl and Playmaker and they're all just in disbelief that this just happened. And so Earth is like, well, even if you've negated my skill, I've still got the advantage. I'm still going to defeat you. I'm still going to protect Crystal Heart. And Go's determination to win allows him to come out and bring out a couple of new monsters, and we see him use the Synchro Summon. And he brings out a level 8 Giga Spinosavant. And basically, this monster's effect allows him to destroy Earth's field. He's allowed to destroy the trap card Gravity Protection, which is the only thing protecting Crystal Heart at this point, destroys his Link 4 monster, and Go actually attacks and defeats Earth. And this is where the episode gets really emotional and really intense. Everybody watches in shock and horror as Earth lost the duel. And when Earth loses the duel, of course, we watch him disintegrate, and he's actually captured by Go Onizuka. Well, once Earth is captured, Ai is vowing that the first thing he's going to do is save Earth, and Playmaker's actually demanding Go release Earth. And Go is basically saying, "You're next, Playmaker," and we actually watch him start fizzling out even when Blue Girl comes up, and she says, "No, you're not going to duel Playmaker and I, you're going to duel me." Well, we watch Go kind of start fizzling out because, unbeknownst to them, back in the real world, this duel has basically put Go's life in danger again. And so the Queen forces Go to log out, and he sees it as interference, and he's upset by this. But Queen, protecting her human-AI hybrid prototype, forcibly logs him out so that he doesn't die in the course of his stubbornness to go after Playmaker. Because Queen's objective was just to capture the Earth Ignis. So Go is gone, he's forced to log out, and we go back to the real world. And this is where the episode really hit home. We see this lab here, and Earth is on this table, and he's kind of like, what is this? What is this? And Solid Technology is actually going to dissect him. And as they're dissecting him, Earth is trying to fight back. He's saying, no, I'm a life form. I have free will. I'm alive. As Solid Technology finishes cutting him apart and dissecting him. And during this time he's dissected, the moment Earth vanishes, his memory vanishes, he even forgets Aqua's name. It hits across the board. Every single faction involved in this confusing war in Vrains is affected. I and Flame feel it immediately, as does Aqua. Aoi and Emma are watching on in horror, just not knowing what to think. Zyzen is in horror watching this as the Queen is just smiling, saying this is going to bring great research and great money to Solid Technology. And it even hits the Knights of Hanoi. We go to Spectre, and Spectre actually feels something in his heart when Earth is gone, and he even sheds a tear or two. He's like, what's going on? And yeah, so this episode hit across the board. Even Spectre was affected by this. The Knights of Hanoi knew what happened. And everybody is just watching in shock and horror as to what Solid Technologies just did. Because at first, during this entire duel, Go was convincing Earth that humans were evil and they needed to be combated. And I was actually fearful that Earth was going to side with Lightning and Windy. But, you know, Earth goes on and he's saying humans are evil. Humans are evil. They have to be fought. They have to be crushed. And the humans, what do? Instead of showing Earth mercy, they cut him apart. And it's just... It's a words cannot express what I feel about this episode right there at the end towards Solid Technology and the Queen. That was just horrible, and I didn't expect that to hit me so hard. And the preview as well for next episode, which I won't go too in depth with that. We'll talk about that next week in that episode. But the preview, you know, we watched at the end of the episode where Aoi is just lost, and she's like, Emma, what's an Ignis? And we learned during the preview that Aqua knows who Aoi is. And now, I've seen some people say that Aoi was Aqua's origin. I sincerely doubted that myself, and, you know, I've had disagreements with people in the community about this because I wasn't convinced. But after watching the preview, I kind of am starting to suspect that may be the case on that. But during that preview, though, for next week's episode, we even have Revolver going to Playmaker again and basically, discussing what happened with Earth. And so, yeah, the preview for it just looks like it's going to be an emotional fill-up to what this episode was. And make no mistake about it, this episode really hit you right in the feels, in my opinion. So with that being said, that was this week's episode. Like I said, overall, I give this episode a 9 out of 10. I did not expect the end of this episode to hit me as hard as it did. It was like the feels freight train just came out of nowhere and bam, ran you right over. I'm still in shock about it. But that being said, in the comments section down below, let me know what you guys thought about this week's episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just there? What were your thoughts on what happened to Earth? What were your thoughts about it hitting across the board as far as all the factions within this Ignis War have sensed Earth's departure? Just what are your thoughts about all this? Where do you think Solid Technologies really align? Do you think Solid Technology may actually hold more in common with the likes of Lightning and Windy than they do Playmaker and the Knights of Hanoi? Just let me know what your guys' thoughts are about all this, because this was just a lot to take in. Because as always, I enjoy hearing from you. So as always, everybody, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.